folks. Welcome back to Never on the Back Foot. Last night, we witnessed a high-scoring thriller at DY Patil. Mumbai Indians chased down what seemed like a very improbable 192 with ice-cold authority, thanks to Harmanpreet Kaur and the kind of form that she's been, an absolute clutch mentality. In today's WPL Morning Show, I'm joined by someone incredibly special. We have Shajin, who has not just been like a passionate follower of women's cricket, but has formerly worked with women's cricket, so knows all things women's cricket. And for the next couple of days, I get to dig into his brain and just get his thoughts on the matches that have happened. Now, in today's episode, we'll obviously be talking about the Mumbai Indians versus Gujarat Giants match, a match that had so much to offer, so many plot points, and the way the match ebbed and flowed, right? Definitely giving us a great conversation to have. But before I get started, Shajin, welcome to the show. First things first, how you're doing? And yeah, you had the opportunity to watch the match right from the stadium, right? So your experience on the same?
Yeah, hi. Thank you for having me on the show. It's happy to be here, and I'm happy that I'm making my debut here on the Backfoot podcast. And I hope it goes like the Anushka Sharma one, not the Ayushi Soni one. Yeah. Talking about the stadium experience, it has been fine. The crowd has been really good, except for one match or something. All other matches there have been decent crowd, and even the opening match there have been. I would say 90% crowd was there, and they have been very loud, and the players have been really enjoying, especially someone like Grace Harris, Dada, those who interact with the players, those who interact with the crowds has been really enjoying the experience. And DY Patil, as you know, always the unofficial women's cricket. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think DY Patil is, as you rightly said, the unofficial home of women's cricket. And glad that at least the first leg of the WPL is happening there. But again, just talking about the game itself, right now, this is Mumbai Indians registering their second win on trot. Gujarat Giants, slumping to a loss after winning those two matches. So, what did you just make of that narrative? And am I clearly peaking now at the right time?
Yeah, I don't know if MI is speaking or not, but Gujarat Giants seem to have definite issues against Mumbai Indians because they never seem to get over the line against them 8-0 now. And I think that's the way it goes for Gujarat Giants. And it can be seen on the field because Gujarat Giants always seem like they have the match on their hand. Even in big chases, in that 95 not out match, Harmanpreet Kaur, it seemed like it was an impossible chase, and still Gujarat Giants seem to panic, and Ash Gardner refuses to bowl in crucial moments as well.
Yeah, definitely. Because when we sort of, do a dissection of the surface itself, right, we've seen how scores of 190 have been already breached here. Again, when you look at the pitch itself, right, did you just feel like it was, hey, execution under pressure that sort of ultimately decided the game? Because teams chasing obviously have that advantage, with dew coming in. But teams batting first, right, in this case, Gujarat just seemed to be making merry while batting first.
Yeah, this seemed like a different pitch. I think the one from the left, the last match was played. If you look at from the media center, the match against RCB, you they couldn't score much. And in this match again, it looked like good surface, and everyone was ball was coming nicely onto the bat. And Gujarat then started really well with Betmoni scoring those runs after getting dropped, and Kanika Hoj also really chipped in there. And I think there was no issue with the pitch as well, and I think they should have scored at least 210, 220. It looked like for their bowling attack that seemed to concede everything 190 every time. All the three matches they have been conceding more than 190, so I don't think there was enough runs on the board for them.
Yeah, fair point there. And before we start talking about the major plot points of this encounter itself, let's talk about the playing 11 and the kind of combinations opted for, right? Gigi had to go in with that one change where Ayushi Soni had to come in for Anushka Sharma. Mumbai Indians themselves, right? Had Haley Matthews come back in because Maximo Brunt was ruled out. Like, all in all, what have you just made of the playing combinations that both teams have applied, especially in this game?
Yeah, both changes were forced, but Mumbai didn't have much of a worry because Haley Matthews was coming in full as NSP, whereas Gujarat Giants saw someone like Anushka Sharma who showed a lot of promise in the first two games. And Ayush Saini is someone, a different kind of a batter, someone who needs time, who takes time, then takes on the spinners. I don't think she was fit for that role at number 6. Maybe it's just a debut. We shouldn't be hard on her, but I think both are different kind of players. Anushka Sharma is someone who can take on the bowlers and hit those sixes as well. But Ayushi Soni is specifically restricted to hitting sixes against the spinners. That too, she needs a little bit of time. We have seen that in the DPL and in domestic cricket.
Yeah,
Whereas
actually,
for
that's
Mumbai,
true. Hmm.
whereas for Mumbai Indians, although Hayley Matthews didn't look that good with the ball, she has been really striking it well with the bat, at least in that 12 ball innings.
Yeah, definitely good signs for Mumbai Indians, right? In spite of missing out someone like Natsu Vibrant, you still have Hayley Matthews and the services of so many other all-rounders who would sort of, help sail that ship. But again, just looking at Gujarat, batting first, they made what 62 for one in that power play, and Mumbai in their run chase, they were what 48 for two. Yet Mumbai ended up on the winning side. Like, what does this again say to you a lot about like the middle overs control versus the starts, right? Do you think starts really dictate how the rest of the game sort of plays out?
Yeah, Mumbai Indians have never been a power play team, and they or in all the three matches they let other team take the power play, other than the DC match, of course. So with Divine and Moni and Anushka or Kaniga in this case, Gujarat Giants had more firepower in the power play, whereas in the middle overs they lost their way a little bit, and on the other hand, Mumbai Indians really controlled that middle phase with the two Kaurs, Amanjot and Harmanpreet, and so that's where the game was shifted. And in the and Gujarat Giants scored 56 runs in the last four death overs in the last 4 hours, whereas Mumbai didn't need to do that much, and they had to score only 39 in the last 4 hours. So in the middle overs, it was the control that Harmanpreet Kaur showed, and Amanjot Kaur's prolific boundary hitting ability also helped them really well.
Yeah, and we will discuss how that run chase, sort of panned out for Mumbai Indians. Because when you look at it from a GG perspective, I think they had a solid start, right, with Sophie Devine and Beth Mooney. I think in this podcast we've raved enough about how well they bat together, how they complement each other, from their Perth Scorchers days. Nice to see them again in orange for Gujarat Giants as well. But Sophie Devine was dismissed early on, and Gigi, doing a very interesting move there by bringing in Kanika Ahuja at three, right? So again, how crucial was that partnership, Shajin? The one which had Mooney and Ahuja just sort of stabilizing things, right, after Devine's early dismissal, and they just sort of needed that at that point, right?
Yeah, yes, yes, of course. Mooney and Divine has always been a great partnership, but Divine was dismissed early. Although Mooney was dropped off Shabnam Ismail, and Kaniga Huja, I don't think she's a number three batter, but she has been given that opportunity to bat at an unfamiliar position, and he took that and scored that 35 of 18 balls. Yeah, so she showed a lot of promise. Usually, she has been someone who hits a lot of balls to the left side, but last night she scored two glorious boundaries to the offside as well. So I think it shows the evolution of her batting, and I think she has been working really hard on her batting at the Nice Academy in Bangalore. So that progress you can see in her batting when she was playing for RCB, and she used to bat at 5-6, right? And those days you predominantly used the leg side to score those runs, especially behind the wicket, and it was nice to see. And she also took a sort of a revenge against Amanjot Kaur, hitting her for that six. If you remember that RCB Mumbai game last year.
Yeah, valid point there, because just again, spotlighting Kanika Ahuja, right? The knock that you did talk about, the 35 coming of just 18 balls, she's striking at 194, batting out of position. I think this has been the trend for a lot of Indian batters, just batting out of position, but they still have to sort of make do with it. But Kanika Ahuja, right? At least for me, this was probably one of the most impactful WPL innings she played, right? The way she was just, striking those sixes and fours at will. Do you see this be like a long-term sort of thing? Because Anushka Sharma's injury does look serious, right? Every single time the camera panned at her, she had her hand quite heavily strapped. So, Kanika Ahuja, do you think this could be, like a moment for her to really step up and capitalize?
I don't know about the batting order, but Anushka Sharma's hand seemed heavily strapped, and but they said it's a short-term injury and she will be out for a short while. I don't know how is that short while will pan out. But Kanika Ahuja, I don't think she's a number three batter. But Gujarat Giants have been doing this. They have been pushing batters here and there, and even Wareham batted up the order in the last match. Yeah, so is that's then opportunity you have to take it, but. Anushka Sharma and Kanika Hauja, that sort of batters who have the big hitting ability and they can do that. Someone like Ayushi will need a little bit of time. Maybe they should have used her as a spin basher or something. But these things, I hope Kanika Hauja get more opportunities, maybe at 4 or 5. I think that's better suited for her.
Yeah, fair enough. And I think through the rest of the season, probably, there will be some foresight about where she ideally fits in that batting order. And talking about Ash Gardner too, right? I think she's been in red hot form. And this match too, right? Getting that 11 ball 20, she looked like she could have possibly gone for more. But then her wicket fell, right, in that 10th over. The score was 97 for 3. Do you think that was probably MI's biggest moment in sort of halting that acceleration phase, right? Because after that, you had Georgia Wareham and Ayushi Soni come in. There was that little bit of sluggishness coming in, not a lot of boundaries happening. So do you think that was sort of like the defining moment? I mean, we'll talk about Bharti Fulmali later, but that Ash Gardner dismissal, if you could shed some light on it.
Yeah, yes, rightly said. They lost their way a little bit in the middle overs after Ash Gardner was dismissed, and Ash Gardner has been really batting well throughout the season and even before that as well in the World Cup and as well as WPL. So that was the crucial moment, and I think it's always difficult to predict where Wareham should come in, and entry points are always a tricky one because Wareham and Richa Goshen, those sort of batters, I think they play a lot of dots and. At the start of the innings, they are given an entry point too early, and I think and Ayush Soni also struggled. So that was the point. Mumbai seized control again, and it they didn't really never give it back. But the thing is was that and then that retired out came. So that was something you see something new every day in WPL, and Klinger made that decision, and it could have gone either way, but that's the way it goes.
Yeah, it's probably going to come to that itself, right? Your thoughts on the retired out decision of Ayushi Soni, because you could see Michael Klinger, sort of put an arm around her shoulder, sort of explaining her what happened. But Shajin, again, as an onlooker, what did you make of it, right? Very bizarre that a batter is just walking off. You have another one coming in, no visible apparent injury concern being there. Do you think it was a tactical masterclass from Gigi there for a bit?
Yeah, it could have gone either way, but the thing is that it has been happened in women's cricket. That's the issue, and for men's, it's been a norm in the recent while, and there have been a lot of return outs. But I don't know how Aishi Sony took it, but Klinger has been really talking to her about that, and but I don't know. Someone on your debut, you might not be. She might have thought she had that chance to resurrect that innings and say Bharti Fulmali might have got out in the first two balls if umpire got it wrong. So you can say it's 50-50 decision, but if it comes off, it's always great. And they still had some batting left, so retiring out was that not an issue. This Kashfi Akadam still to come in, so that was not an issue. But as far as Ayushi Soni is concerned, that must be a disappointing debut for her.
Yeah, definitely not one of the most memorable debuts there, because later on we saw her, sort of drop a catch and she wasn't looking that happy with everything that was happening. But again, this retired out decision, I think it's one of those things that really worked out well, right? Because Bharti Fulmali came into the batting side of things, although she had a very rough start to her knock with those LBW possible dismissals and the umpire just giving her out both times. Thank God for technology, as as the commentators also did mention. She went on to accumulate what 36 runs of just 15 balls, striking at 240. Literally made Georgia Wareham's life at the other end very easy, and was striking the ball literally for fun, right? Again, Shazin, for you watching it from the stadium and later, just analyzing the knock, like how important was that, sort of ensure Gigi had that competitive total on board?
Yeah, Bharti formally has been signed for exactly this, and she has been doing it for them in the last season as well. So that's something they really want from her. So retired out might be forced because of that. They wanted her to play in the death overs, and she faced a lot of deliveries as well. She played 15, 15 or 18. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
15.
yeah, she has a lot of power, and I think she developed her game. And back then, when she made her debut, she couldn't score 3 runs against Kate Cross. So something she has really changed her way, and her sixes are going big, and usually the it's clear the boundary by a long way, and it has been. So that's something we have been watching. But the issue is that it might always not come off, and so Gujarat Giants really made that decision, and it paid off today. And I think Bharti Fulmali is someone we can watch out throughout the season, and we will see how her development goes.
Absolutely, keeping our fingers crossed that she continues to grow from strength to strength, right? The kind of a performance she put in last season, sort of reinstated that faith, and Gigi went after her this auction too. But again, just briefly looking at that partnership, right, with Georgia Wareham, I know Bharti did much of the heavy lifting. It was what an unbeaten 56 of 24, right? That partnership. Again, Shajin, like when you look at it in hindsight, like how decisive was that partnership itself, and it sort of ensured, right, that they had a match winning, if not like in this case they did lose, but some total on board to defend.
Yeah, yeah. At one stage, it looked like they might end up at below 180, and that partnership really helped that go for that final push and score 23 runs of that Amanjot Kaur over and pushed it beyond 190. But still, I felt they could have scored a little bit more if they had that. Maybe they could have sent Kashfi Gautam ahead of Ayushi Soni, and then if they wanted to keep Bharti Fulmali for the death overs. But I don't know if they trust Kashfi Gautam enough to do that. But that partnership was really good, and Wareham, once she was set, she really played all those shots, and even that shot to the offside was really good. And yeah, and Bharti Fulmali gave that final flourish in the last over against Amanjot Kaur. So that was something that's great to see, but still, I think they lost the match in that middle overs.
Yeah, that's very true because at one point really felt like they could have pushed the envelope beyond 200, made it a proper match and given an actual competition there. But just looking at MI's bowling itself, right? Like you did talk about Amanjot Kaur going for so many runs, but the bowling unit at large, right? When you have a look at it, I think besides Shabnam Ismail and probably Sanskriti Gupta, who's just getting the one solitary over, which is beyond me. The rest of the bowlers clearly were tonged all around the park, although they got those solitary wickets. So, Shajin, again, your impressions of MI's bowling side of things, can they do something better? And yeah, I think we lost Shajin there for a minute. Let me probably take up the comments in the meanwhile. Yeah, I think Gigi bowled terribly in the death, bringing up all the fielders in the offside, but bowling in the same slot again and again. Carey and Harman scoring for one, also the dropped catch by Bharti. Yeah, I think it was just one of those days, where Gigi was getting some things wrong. Like Shajin did point out, they could have possibly gone for like 20 runs more when they were batting first, and yeah, I mean, their bowling too, right, didn't quite live up to that sort of expectation because Mumbai was under pressure throughout. But I think Harmanpreet Kaur just had enough of that comfort space to, just go all guns blazing. And at no point it felt like the required rate was getting difficult. So, yeah, guys, I think Shajin will join us back, but I'll keep taking comments here. Yeah, I think Akshat also goes on to say the dropped catches costed the game for Gujarat Giants. Four catches of Harmanpreet Kaur were dropped. That's absolutely true, right? Um I mean, catches win you matches. This is such a cliche. So many people have sort of already said this so many times. And I think it was one of those days for, Gujarat. They just couldn't get a lot of things right. And I think we have Shajin join us back. Shajin, welcome back. Hope you can see us and hear us.
Yeah, I can. Sorry, this looks more like the Ayushi Sony W than the Anushka Sharma one.
No worries, Shajin. But we were just discussing, how Gigi had a very off day in the field as well, right? Dropping some crucial catches. Something we will get to in the course of our discussion itself. But yeah, like I think we were discussing about Mumbai's, bowling side of things, how that hasn't worked out. But again, fingers crossed, they're able to figure out certain combinations. And there's a certain Billy Illingworth sitting there warming the benches. Hopefully, she gets a look in at some point. But there's only four overseas players you can accommodate. Let's see how that plays out for them. But yeah, Rajat, now the target was set, right? 193 from 20 overs. And you could sense that sense of confidence, at least from the TV screen, that, hey, like probably Mumbai really trusts themselves to get that total. Like Sajna was like grooving to music. The rest of the lineup also looked, quite confident in that regard. But here again, Kamalini was joined in by a new opening partner in Hayley Matthews, and to their credit, they sort of got off to a flyer, right? So, talk to us about this opening partnership, Shajid. Do you think it sort of set the tone for them in some way?
Yeah, but Kamalini is just still in her developing stage, and I think it will take time for to dictate terms in the power play. But Hayley Matthews really played well in that power play, although the innings lasted only 12 balls. But that set the tone, and I think Mumbai are not really a power play team, as I said before, and they really take it on after the power play, and they still need to figure out who will open with Haley Matthews if they want to change again. Maybe they should give that opportunity to Amanjot Kaur. Maybe if they want G Kamali to bat below the order. But as far as Kamali is concerned, she's still 17 and she will develop as the game goes. And I think they trust her and they don't expect much from her. And we shouldn't be also, because she's still young, and she plays a couple of high catching shots, and she still plays a lot of dot balls. And that's something she has to work on as the game progresses.
Yeah, hopefully, she gets that space to grow and develop right in this setup. But again, Shajin, before we talk about Mumbai and the rest of their, how their run chase panned out, like, what did you make of the whole Amelia Kerr experiment itself, right? Like in the earlier matches, we saw her sort of open. Do you see MI go back to that tactic? So probably Kamlini can come in later. Like, do you see that sort of play out?
I don't think Melee will open again, and I think it stems from the fact that she opens for Wellington Blaze in the Super Smash. But I think she's a really different kind of a player, and even for New Zealand, she plays at number 3, but she doesn't really take on the power play. Or she needs her time. In the first season, they played her at number 5 for Mumbai Indians, and she really had a good time. And since then, she hasn't been really batting well in the WPL. But I don't see, even yesterday they didn't. Push her to number 5, or even at number 6 Sajna was supposed to come in, and so they are not planning to go back to Meli. At least I think maybe they can push Amanjot Kaur to open the batting if they want to really utilize her batting, but I don't see my Meli Kaur coming. And again, they have to figure out their power plays. That's the one of the two issues they have, that bowling and power play batting.
Yeah, I think it was one of those short-lived experiments that may not really play out, because Mumbai does have those options. But even the kind of start that Mumbai had, right? Like Hayley Matthews got off to that blistering start, 22 of 12. Mind you, she's coming from injury. So, that was obviously like a context that was playing in. But here's probably where, we can talk about Amanjot Kaur, right? Playing that amazing knock, just 26 balls, 40 runs, complementing Harmanpreet Kaur, stitching in that crucial partnership as well. Like, how do you contextualize this knock, Shajin, in the context of the match and everything that transpired?
Yeah, Aman is someone who is a little bit sort of a misunderstood player. I think a lot of people think that she's a bowling all rounder, but she's a batting all rounder who can bowl. And she has been batting in the top order for Chandigarh, and now back in Punjab. And she has been trying to adapt to that role of the finisher at number 5 or 6, because that's where the space to bat in Indian team as well in the Mumbai Indians. So that's, but she hasn't been really utilized by Mumbai Indians, at least for the first 2 matches, and this was an opportunity with NSP missing out. So she started slow, but then she has that prolific boundary hitting ability, and she can really find those gaps. And some of those shots were really clever, and she used the pace, and the placement was really cool. And that was something really nice to see. And she's someone who's in the mold of Jemima Rodriguez, and she shouldn't be trying those powerful shots. And she has been working on that, but she's not able to clear the boundary more often. But she's someone who can really place the ball and the gaps, and find, she's really clever as a batter. And even though on the offside, she's prolific on the offside as well, and square cut and cuts, all those shots is something she has been really playing right from the start when she started for Chandigarh and Punjab.
Yeah, I think her game awareness is definitely unparalleled. Hopefully, injuries don't come to play spoil sport. Too good of a player to, sort of be resting in the sidelines. But just the partnership, right, with Harmanpreet Kaur, like it was a 72-run partnership that quite literally changed the dynamic of the game. Did you really think that the phase, when the duo was batting the chase, felt truly settled and well within control?
Yeah, it reminded me of that partnership between Jemima and Harmanpreet Kaur in the semi-final against Australia, because they have been really planning it, and they weren't looking for those 20, 30 run overs. They were really happy to take 2 boundaries and over, or 1 boundary and 5 singles. And they were really planning. They have been talking in between the overs, maybe the way Jemmy used to plan those innings. So that was something really nice to see, because they weren't panic and it felt calm. Harman was really calm, and these days Harman is really calm, whether it's for MI or India. So helping winning the World Cup always helps. So that was the partnership, and I think Gujarat Giants Indian bowlers really struggled against the duo, and Harman has always been someone who takes on the Indian bowlers with no mercy. So that was something, and they really planned that middle phase really well and scored over 100 runs. So that was the phase the Gujarat Giants lost the match, although in the end they dropped the catch, and people will be blaming for those catches. But by that time, the match was almost done because they needed only 39 in the last 4 overs.
Yeah, I think the way they sort of made the most of these opportunities that Gujarat dropped, right? I think you have to give credit to Mumbai for doing it so well. But here's probably the moment, Shajin, we should talk about Harmanpreet Kaur, right? The kind of knock that she played. Harman 2.0, someone who doesn't get angry fast to the field. You're dropping catches, she's perfectly fine. But 71 of just 43 balls, right? An absolute monstrous knock. Without a shadow of doubt, Harmanpreet Kaur in WPL is an entire different beast. This knock sort of reiterated us, reminded us of that. But again, for you watching it, from the field, like how, did you think she balanced that aggression with composure, especially during the middle overs? And this was like again, right, the anatomy of a perfect run chase, right?
Yeah, yes. Harmanpreet Kaur is the Indian batter of the WPL. If you think of the overseas batters, you always think of NSP. But if you think of the best Indian batter, it's Harmanpreet Kaur in WPL. Even though there are a lot of Indians vying for that position, but Harman has been really calm, and she started the way she starts for India as well. She started slow. She was 11 of 12, I think, at one stage, and before she took on the spinners and then all the paces at end. She had that amazing six against Renuka Singh Thakur, and that was the turning point. I think once Aman was hitting those boundaries, Harman was happy to sit back and relax. And once Aman, when she was ready to shift the gears and really took on that chase.
Yeah, I think it was definitely one of those unforgettable knocks. Hopefully, the start of many more for Harman through the season as well. And I think one underrated knock that clearly went under the radar, not sure why, was that of Nicola Carey, right? Her 38 of just 23 balls. Do you think Mumbai again has quietly found a very reliable all rounder? And through the season too, we can see her play a very important role?
Underrated is the story of Nicola Carey's career. Whenever she played for the biggest Sydney Thunder, Hobart Hurricanes, Australia, and now at Mumbai Indians. And Mumbai Indians have a happy problem now with her coming good. They have 5 good overseas players and still milling worth waiting in the wings. So that's an issue they have to solve. And she has been really good, and she has been really good. She seems to be enjoying cricket, and she let go of that Australia contract and explore these opportunities. And things fall into her place because at the 100. She had Georgia Wareham getting injured, and she got that opportunity, and that opportunity made her into the Mumbai Indian setup. And NSP was not there today. Otherwise, she might have been sitting out with Haley Matthews coming in. So I think things are working really well for her, and she has been bowling really well as well. She has been simming the ball, and she gave that crucial breakthrough of getting Ash Gardner as well. So she has been the pick of the season, I should say, for as far as overseas players are concerned. Maybe she would be coming back to the Australia. I don't know if she wants it, but maybe she will come back to the Australia setup as well, and we will see it in the international level as well.
Yeah, exciting times for her, right? Because of the way she's been contributing across all departments, really working out well. But Shazin, let's take a few comments here in our live chat, sort of echoing thoughts that we had. This was a comment I took in earlier where one of our, subscribers goes on to say that Gigi bowled terribly in the death, bringing up all the fielders in the offside, but kept bowling in the same slot again and again. You saw Nicola Carey and Harman score for fun. Also, the drop catch by Bharti not helping the cause. Again, not sure if it's a question, but more of a statement.
Comment, yeah.
And yeah, and we also have another comment that says Ayushi Soni had such a worst debut, stuck on crease, retired out, dropped 2 catches. If I'm not wrong, in 2021 she actually got an India caller, but not debut. Difference and disappointment. Again, a comment here. But just to talk briefly about Ayushi Soni itself, right, Shajin? Like, he's not wrong. Like, 2021 was when she did get that India call up, and it was again quite a forgettable debut, so to say. And after she's been in the fringes for a really long time, has been playing for Delhi in the domestic circuit, played in the DPL as well. So, how would you just look at her progress and evolution? And do you think this is just one of those forgettable matches, and she will come back stronger?
Yeah, we shouldn't be hard on her as she was making her debut as well. In 2021, I think she made her debut. She was a different player back then, but over the years she has been reliable for Delhi, and even in the WP DPL she has been batting really, but she is a different sort of a player. I think maybe if they want to utilize her, maybe she should be batting at number 4 and to take on the spinners. But because she needs her time, she can't be your finisher or a number 6 batter. So I won't be hard on her. As yeah, fielding is something she should improve. Those drop catches were really bad.
Yeah, I think that definitely did cost. I wouldn't say cost them the game, but then they were, costly drops in that regard. We have another comment again coming in which says, I believe that the actual reason for Gigi's failure is Ash Gardner and Georgia Wareham not bowling well and not completing their 4 overs quota. If Wareham does not perform with the ball, they should look at someone like Kim Garth. Again, Shajin, what did you make of this, right? Again, you have someone like a Kim Garth who's warming the benches, not a sight you'd see very often. Somewhere again, questions on that overseas quota and how that's working out for them.
Yeah, but again, that's the case with all the teams because you can also only use 4 overseas players, and Warehams batting value is too high to for her to be dropped. And I think Wareham is a different bowler when she plays for GG and when she plays for RCB and Australia. So maybe she will improve over the course of the season. But yesterday they weren't trusting her to bowl against the Indian batters. Ash Gardner herself didn't trust her to bowl those overs. Maybe if they bowled a few more overs, maybe they could have come a little bit earlier because Ash Gardner didn't bowl in the first 10. Maybe at the time when Ash Gardner, Amanjot Kaur was batting and Harman just came in, maybe they could have tried back then. I don't know where bowled those 1 over and then they thought maybe she wasn't much of a threat against these batters. But again, their other bowlers are also Indian bowlers, so there is only Divine is there. So maybe that's something they should think of because all the 3 matches they have considered more than 198 runs. So their batting looks strong. That bowling is something that has been a worry over the course of all the 4 seasons because they have been conceding all these record chases. 5 of them, I think, as of now, top 5 or top 5 are against Gujarat Giants. So that's something they have to worry about. So maybe Wareham will come good and Ash Gardner should trust herself a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely. Because even our next question goes on to ask, like, do you think the lack of overseas pace bowlers is going to make GG suffer a lot, especially at the death, right? Because Shachin, just have a look at the bowling card for Gujarat. None of the bowlers have economies in 5 6s. It's all above like 8 and 9. So that again does become a matter of concern. Their pace bowling is largely driven by Renuka Singh Thakur. You have Kashmi Gautam. You also have Sophie Devine, chip in with a few overs. But then that specialist overseas pace bowler, something that could come to bite them back a little.
Yeah, it's something, but they have no other choice because they had only Divine, and Divine has been really bowling well in the death as well. But they don't have an Indian option because Renuka Singh Thakur is someone who should be bowled out by the 15th over. I don't know why they went for her in the 16th. So that was an over maybe someone else could have bowled. But other than that, Renuka really bowled well in the first 3 overs. But it's the lack of those overseas placeholders. They don't have that in the death overs to. Yeah, that's an issue even with the Mumbai Indians, but they have been managing it really well. Although they gave it Amanjot Kaur last night. But as far as GG is concerned, their Indian bowling contention is a worry, not just the pacers, even the spinners. Maybe they could look at someone like Tanuja Kanwar a little bit more and use Wareham in the middle overs as well. But as far as the playing Kim Garth, I think it's not possible as of now because their batting isn't that strong for them to drop Wareham and play Kim Garth.
Yeah, definitely valid point there, and just interested to see how the rest of the season pans out for them. But Shajin, almost as we reach the end of our discussion, do you have any last and final thoughts? Because I think it's going to be interesting, right? The kind of matches that are coming up. Again, I keep mentioning this that there's a short turnaround between matches. Like a loss cannot be taken or read into too seriously. But both the teams heading into the rest of the season, how do you think it's going to pan out for them?
Yeah, as far as Mumbai Indians are concerned, I think other than their power play batting and depth overs, they have been really looking good, and their batters seem to be enjoying that space. And especially with Harman in this sort of form and in the good mind space she has been in recent times. So Mumbai are really sorted, but I'm not sure about Gujarat Giants. Their batting really looks good, but their bowling has been a worry for them all through the 4 seasons and in the 3 matches as well. So maybe when teams take on them, and maybe they will have to look at chasing all the matches. Have to hope that those will go in their fair in every single time. And other than that, I think their bowling is a worry, and other teams can challenge them. I think as far as Mumbai Indians are concerned, they are looking really good, but DC and UP Warriors are struggling. So Gujarat Giants can still finish in the top three. That's something they will have to hope that they will finish in the top three.
Yeah, Shajin picking on an early trend there because talking about the next game, we have Delhi Capital's take on the UP Warriors. Our live chat, again mentioning that, hey, it was not GG talking about the UP Warriors, the lack of overseas pace option. And another comment that says, just looking at UP Warriors playing 11, it looks like a better ODI team than a T20 team. Like, what is the case with Harleen? World Cup winner now in India's squad, but never really performed in WPL. I know, Shazin, this is a conversation for probably tomorrow, but if you could just briefly address it and like, where do you stand in this debate?
Yeah, I don't think the choice to open with Harleen was that, not that a bad one, because they knew that Kiran Navgire might struggle against Lauren Bella, just like Melika struggled in the first game against RCB. So that was not a bad decision, but Harleen had a good season with Gujarat Giants at number three, but she's not that sort of a batter who can bash the power play or even the middle overs. She's a solid batter. Maybe if they had other options, they should combine with it. And Harleen and Lanning opening is something that's will be an issue. But other than that, I think you can't be hard on Harleen. But yeah, she's more of a T20 solid batter. If you need someone at three who has to bat through the innings, that's something they can look at. But in a setup like UPW, it's difficult because they have Harleen, Meg Lanning, and now Dipti Sharma as well. So, Dipti Sharma is underutilized. If you bat Harleen in the top three, then everyone will be pushed down one load. Maybe they should think about Phoebe Litchfield at three and Kiran Navgire. Again, it's about matchups. They don't know if Kiran Navgire is good enough against the moving ball to start off with. So they want and how they want to maximize Kiran Navgire's utility as well. That matters. So maybe they will continue with Harley in the next game, going by what Abhishek Nair said, depending on the opposition as well. Because car pace against someone, I don't think Kiran Navgire will be fancy pacing at the start of the innings. Maybe a Meglani can shield her if they start. And we will have to see because both teams have been losing matches and they will be looking for their first win. So either way, I think you can't say there is a really correct decision to make between Harley and Kiran Navgire depending on the matchups.
Yeah, I mean, all in all, I think we are going to be invested in this battle of underdogs, right? Both teams are right now placed at 4-5, having registered 2 losses. They will be looking to open their account with a win. But yeah, folks, that's all for today's discussion of MI versus GG. You will again find Shazin join us tomorrow to discuss the very exciting DC versus UP match, which again, will throw us up a thriller. And thank you so much, Shazin, for joining me. I know we faced a little bit of, technical glitches and all of that, but that's, part and parcel of, live streams. And to all the viewers who joined in, thank you so much for your questions. And we hope to, see you through the rest of our series as well. But yeah, until next time, stay safe and take care. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Neha. Thank you, everyone. It was a great experience other than the technical stances.
Cheers.